Hi, my name is Oriana Silva, and I'm a facilitator for P2P Global Teens. Now, I started in this program when I first heard about it back in 2024, and back then I was still a senior in high school. And to some degree, it was a somewhat unfamiliar territory, but I had previously had a somewhat similar experience, I would say, back when I joined Boy Scouts of America in 2019 when they opened it up to girls. And I stayed in the same troop for about 4 to 5 years, and I really felt that I had built a home and a community there. It was very similar in the sense that we really prioritized in building those leadership skills that we really focus on here and helping others. And it was even scouts from my own troop, scouts from other troops. It was all about teaching each other, hosting workshops to teach each other different skills that were very necessary and very important to the Boy Scout culture. And overall, it also consisted of helping our community, which I think was really amazing. We did hundreds of hours of volunteer work and so many team building activities and adventures. And it was overall like a great way to build memories. And I think that will stick with me throughout my whole life. And I think it really helped me to change for the better, and it helped me to grow. And when I really think back on it, and I think of when I first joined, when I was 11 years old, and I was still very shy, very anxious, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And I figured back in 2024 when I was going to join P2P, I figured that this would be a great way to expand on these skills that I had already started accumulating throughout those years in Boy Scouts, and also throughout my life as I was in high school already. But now I'm a freshman in college, and I'm currently going to Florida International University. And it's only now that I decided on my major as rehabilitation and recreational therapy. And I think you can tell by my major that I really like helping on people. I want to focus on that. I've always really liked it, and especially to be able to help those around me with any knowledge that I have, any way that I can. That's something that's really important to me. And this is just another way that I'm actually able to do that, and I'm really thankful that I decided to commit to this. Even though it felt a little unfamiliar, it was a kind of a scary new territory that I hadn't really tapped into before, because it's all about really reaching out and putting yourself in much more important, higher leadership roles, and about actually having a higher responsibility with teaching. And I think becoming a facilitator has really helped me gain a lot more skills that I've really come to value and expand on them like really well. I used to be a very shy kid, and I was always really, really quiet in class, and I still kind of am that way a little bit. And I always struggle to make friends, and, well, not easily at least. Always a little bit of social anxiety as well, and just really struggled to put myself out there and make friends and deep relationships, just because I really feared being the first one to reach out and being so forward. But I do think that being a facilitator has helped me a lot with this, and the longer I participate in this program, in this organization, I really see these skills building up on each other, and especially not just when I teach them in workshops and when I actually put myself out there and have to practice these skills in front of an audience, in front of people that I'm teaching, but also in my day-to-day life. I find myself tapping into these skills a little bit more and more as time goes on, and I really like that. I really appreciate that within myself, this growth that I'm experiencing. I find myself that I'm much more able to communicate with others, and in much more healthier ways that actually are more effective, and we're able to actually understand each other much more easily. And I find that really important in my life, because I really value my deep relationships and connections and that I have with other people, not just friends. And I think that it's really important that we all are able to do this. So the fact that this program has allowed me to build these skills and be able to do this, I think is amazing. And now that I've actually been able to form these deep relationships now, or at least they're much more deeper than they were before, and they're healthier as well, I really cherish that, and it's very meaningful to me. It's one of like my main things, I would say. And one of the main advantages that I find about becoming a facilitator, about going through the program, is the fact that you do have to go through the program yourself. You have to learn the material firsthand. You have to attend the workshops. And even when you are a facilitator and you're not teaching the workshops, you are still learning. Because it's about sharing perspectives, sharing different experiences that we've had, different things that we've learned, and building off of each other and learning from each other. So I think that's really amazing as well. And the more and more that you teach it and the more that you put yourself in the program, the more you find yourself actually not just like learning the material surface level, superficially. You actually are able to understand it and apply it in your own life rather than just, oh, here's a concept and you kind of just read about it and somewhat understand. No. You're actually understanding it and completely inside of you and applying it. And you have to learn the material in different ways, because if you were teaching a workshop, you have to actually understand the material. You can't just read off of a slide or anything like that. You have to actually understand it. You have to do the exercises to practice it. So that way it's actually a useful skill that you can use rather than just knowledge that you have stored away. And when you use it in real life, when you see it come up in a situation, you really have like this kind of like an epiphany moment and you're like, oh my god, this is so amazing. And it's kind of a little bit of a surprise. And it has really had me feeling more accomplished lately. And especially when I consider how much I'm helping other people, I really like that. I really like the fact that it's not just, oh, I'm teaching myself something new or I'm learning more things as I go along, but I'm also hopefully helping other people reach similar conclusions and kind of helping others on a similar path where they're realizing more about themselves and they're building on themselves a little bit more. And also just the fact that this sort of interaction between each other, this sort of workshops where we build off of each other, where we teach each other new material, this interaction builds a great community. There's a lot of great connections and relationships to be had off of this community, off of P2P. And I feel like at any time where we are building off of each other and we're helping each other out, that sort of builds core experiences, core memories that stay with us and that we can tap into later on. Of course, there are some challenges, though, I would say, as there is with everything in life. These challenges are something that I would say have been challenges that have been present throughout my entire life. I've always had these things. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm socially anxious. I always have been. But definitely with P2P, I've managed to become better with it. I'm better able to rationalize, and I've built a lot more experience over the years as I've challenged myself. And teaching these workshops has really helped with that, because you have to put yourself out there. You have to put yourself out on the spotlight and actually challenge yourself and prove to yourself that you can actually do these difficult things, even if it feels hard in the moment. And even though it is still difficult every single time, I find myself being able to push past the anxiety, especially at the beginning of a workshop where it's like, oh, it's been a little while, I feel a little rusty. But it's okay, because I trust myself. I've grown to trust myself enough to be able to overcome that consistently, even if it is a little bit scary every time. And I also find myself using some of the techniques that we teach in our workshops, especially, like I said, at the beginning of a presentation or something like that. If I need some deep breathing techniques or anything like that, I am able to use that. I'm able to rationalize in my head and center myself so that I can do a better job, I can perform better, and I can allow the material to come across a lot better. And I do think it is a little ironic that we sometimes need to use the things that we teach ourselves in the workshops, but we are all human, which is why we teach them for a reason. It's very important to how we approach our lives and any issues we come across, any obstacles we have. And I think it is also really important to point out the fact that this process takes a lot of time. It takes commitment, dedication. To become a facilitator, you have to dedicate that time to the program, not just at the start when you're learning in the workshops and you're being taught this new material, maybe things that you didn't know before or you didn't fully understand, but also later on as you're facilitating for others in other workshops that maybe you're leading, you're planning, anything like that. it's really important to put in the time, put in the effort, not just for yourself but for others, so that they can also learn the material better and we can build that better sense of community. It takes time to learn the material, to practice it, to contribute to the workshops, and it can feel a little daunting at first, especially because you're like, oh my god, this is such a big commitment or something like that. But we all started in the same place. We all started with this sort of like dread, this fear of the unknown. We always have that. But I think this is such a great community because all the facilitators, everyone here is so understanding, and it's a great community to be a part of because we're all able to lean off of each other. And that way it's not just a sort of, oh, you by yourself, you're alone, you're against everything sort of feeling, but rather if you need anything, you know that others will have your back and you'll be better able to do what you need to do and teach what you need to teach and understand the material that you need to learn. So I definitely think it has been super worth it. It's been an amazing journey so far. It's definitely made me a better rounder person. It's definitely taught me a lot over the time that I've been with the program. And I've also made the very important relationships and connections with this organization. I've gotten to know a lot of people, especially all around the world. My perspectives and worldview has really been broadened. And I think that it really helps us open up our minds and see the world around us, and remind ourselves that we are in a very, very big world and there's a lot of people, and that it's really important to maintain an interconnectedness with these people and to teach each other how to better handle our lives, better manage situations, because we're all human and everything, it always comes up. There's always something going on in our lives that may be an obstacle to us, but we can overcome it. It's just about learning how to manage it, how to approach situations that are very difficult for us. And it's really important to me that we create a healthier, happier world for all of us, one where we can all learn how to respond rather than react and have a better sense of control of the direction we want to move through life. So thank you so much for listening.